Working on your own motorcycle, it creates a bond with your bike. It's something that you're putting that energy into. You're bloodying your knuckles. Working with my hands and fabricating and building motorcycles, it's literally therapy for me. Second builder in this program is Jake from Barnstorm. Now, Jake is one of my favorite builders. Me and him got very close about 5 years ago. He is like what West Coast is doing for the sports side of V-twin motorcycles. He kind of continues that in the Northeast. Really talented builder, amazing fabricator. His vision is just insane. Having him get his hands on this bike, he's done a lot of innovative stuff in the earlier days on the Indian Bagger program. So to see what he does on this mid-size bike is gonna be pretty amazing.
My name is Jacob Cutler. I'm from Spencer, Massachusetts, and I've been riding and working on motorcycles since I was 3 years old. Hey, welcome to Barnstorm. Let's check out the shop. It's basically our main shop area. Got a number of lifts, bikes of all varieties, projects in various stages. We got a Challenger up on this lift here. It's getting a few proprietary Barnstorm parts, mid-controls, dash kit, chain kit probably. Pretty much well underway on this project. Welding, fabrication area we do, handlebar manufacturing, that kind of thing. This room in the back is kind of our dirty room, fab room. Some grinding, some welding, milling machine, lathe, jump shear. Just enough to get yourself in trouble and have some fun.
All right, Jake, first and foremost, super excited you're on this project. I love your style stuff, and we're here, dude. You got the bike. I can see it in the background. Sucker's torn down. What's your direction on the bike? How's things going so far?
Yeah, man. Looking to kind of pick up on the performance aspect that the bike kind of comes with, but accentuate it a little bit. Obviously, it's got the high performance front end and the bigger brakes. So we're going to probably do a little bit of a lift in the front, give it a little bit more ground clearance. Probably going to rework the handlebar area a little bit. Nice. And then we'll be bringing some aesthetic changes and some cosmetic changes to the engine components, some of the cover, some of that kind of thing, just to kind of switch the look up a little bit, give it a little bit more of an aggressive look. But really the goal is just to kind of create like a really, really tight, comfortable bike that you can, really lean into the corners and really just hammer on, do the twisties on the straightaways and have a lot of fun with it. So that's kind of the goal.
So I'm assuming this is probably the first time you've worked on this Chief platform. Like, what's your thoughts on it?
Overall, very impressed with the bike. I was able to put some miles on it before I tore it down, even though it was about 40 degrees here. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, especially once I clicked it into sport mode. I was very happy.
All right, so the clock is ticking. How you feeling?
Overall, optimistic. I tend to be optimistic in these kinds of things, though. I think they seem to always come down to the wire for whatever reason, but I think it's going to be a pretty badass bike when it's done, and I'm excited about it. So.
All right. Well, look, I don't want to take any more of your time. I appreciate you breaking away from your build process, giving us a little update. Looking forward to coming and seeing you in person, seeing that bike in person, kick butt, and I'll check back in with you soon.
It's hard to put like a specific answer on why I like customizing motorcycles, because all my life I've liked understanding how mechanical things worked. From that, I kind of grew into like wanting to be able to make my own mechanical systems. And because I had this passion for motorcycles, like that was a good avenue to kind of blend those two desires, where I can get my mechanical fix, have some artistic license and creative ability, and still end up with like a functional thing at the end of the day. I think one of the reasons I really like customizing motorcycles is because I really love riding them, and the amount of variables that exist for two wheels and a motor is really astounding. You just think about how many different versions of a motorcycle have been created and that there's still new things to come up with. It's inspiring and it's exciting. The original shop where the name Barnstorm came from was in Worcester. It was an old barn, like literally an old carriage house that at one point housed carriages and horses. This was like a fitting like next chapter. It still like kind of fit the vibe. I've kind of gotten into the vein of performance builds the last couple of years. Some ergonomic goals and also some performance goals with some of the stuff I've been doing with gas tanks, handlebars, exhaust, that kind of thing. So I guess there is kind of a little bit of a Barnstorm style in that category or genre of motorcycle style, but I've done a little bit of everything with all kinds of different bikes. So like if I'm building a rigid 4-speed chopper type thing, it's not gonna have the same aesthetic as if I'm doing work on a Challenger. This bike is cool because it's kind of a blend of the Challenger, which I'm very familiar with, and it's a bike I really, really like, and the Chief platform, which I was excited about when it came out, but hadn't really gotten into. So it was kind of a perfect storm for me for like a starting point. I'm pumped to just kind of put my own twist on this where, you know, I'm hoping to really get the bike to where as a rider you feel super locked in and like the bike is just like an extension of yourself. I'm gonna be adding indents to the gas tank so that the rider can kind of lock their legs in a little tighter. And we're working on handlebar risers that are gonna be a little bit taller than the stock with a little bit of pullback just to kind of bring the hands into a little bit more of a relaxed position. Building a custom 2-in-1 exhaust and putting a larger high flow air intake on there just to kind of open the motor up and let it breathe a little bit better. Converting it to a chain drive, and I may play around with the final drive ratio. I want to give it a little bit more off the line pep or whatever. The other big thing I'm going to be doing is reworking the rear fender and subframe of the motorcycle. I want to kind of narrow up the look of the bike in the back. And I really liked the look of the struts when I took the rear fender off. I liked the detail in the casting of the struts. So I want to make that part of the design element, and that's actually going to tie through to the handlebar risers and a couple other things. So I think that will help change the look of the bike and kind of build on an element that's hidden from the factory that I think is a nice looking element of the bike. It's got plenty of motor. It's got good suspension, so it's really just a matter of accentuating the bike so it just looks a little bit more aggressive and, you know, badass. But otherwise, it's just making sure I do the bike justice at the end of the day, like make sure it's a nice, cohesive idea and like the bike has one language when it's done, like visually. I'm excited. I really think it's gonna be a top-notch motorcycle, so I'm hopeful that he feels the same way and really enjoys it and puts a lot of miles on it, and it's, you know, brings meaning to his life, and that's the end goal, right? If he gets on the thing and twists the throttle and gets a huge smile on his face, like, that's all I need.